Last weekend, to celebrate our 2-year anniversary, Nick and I decided to spend a weekend in Copenhagen, and this is what we got up to. We made our way to the airport at a ridiculously early hour of the morning, said goodbye to a rainy England, spent an hour up in the clouds with some beautiful blue sky, before landing in a just as overcast and just as rainy Copenhagen. After a quick train journey from the airport to Copenhagen Central Station, we dropped our bags off at our hotel and started our adventures, which got off to quite a bad start when I managed to read the map wrong and bought Nick and I train tickets to somewhere that was completely the opposite side of Copenhagen. Luckily though, I realised this before we hopped on the train, and it turned out the place that we wanted to go was only about a half-hour walk away. So with the help of Google Maps, we made our way to the actual destination that we wanted to get to, while also managing to have a bit of a look around at some of the buildings and some of the kind of strange sculptures that were around Copenhagen, until we eventually made it to Paper Island. Pretty much as soon as we got to the place where all of the street food carts were, it started pouring with rain. So luckily the majority of those food carts were inside a massive warehouse, and Nick and I spent a long time wandering around deciding what we wanted to eat before finally settling on some Brazilian food. Once our bellies were full, we made our way back to our hotel, stopping at a few really beautiful places along the way to take some photos and some video footage and really just enjoy the city. The hotel we were staying at was called Tivoli Hotel, and when we were checking in they let us know that they'd booked us into one of their themed rooms, which was carnival themed, and definitely gave us a bit of a shock when we first walked into the room and took a little bit of getting used to. That night Nick and I were pretty tired from our 4 AM wake up call, so we watched a bit of TV. I got really excited when I saw my name on the screen. My name's on the TV! Look! Woo! And then we went to a really delicious steakhouse called Mash, and it was delicious. The next morning when we woke up, we were pleasantly surprised to see that it was nice and sunny, even though the weather was forecast to rain. So we decided to make the most of it, and we headed off early to Tivoli Gardens. Tivoli Gardens is a mix between a theme park, some botanical gardens, and just a bunch of really delicious restaurants and places to eat. Before deciding on what rides we wanted to go on and what we wanted to do there, we went for a massive walk all around the Tivoli Gardens, just soaking in how beautiful everything was and looking at all of the different rides that were on offer, and just seeing everybody's excitement at being in this really cool theme park. Nick just went on his first ever roller coaster. What did you think?
Good.
Now we're going on a ride that's kind of eminent of one that we went on in Disneyland. Matterhorn is the name that I was looking for. But yeah, so far we've been having a pretty good day at Tivoli. At around 1 or 2 o'clock, we left Tivoli Gardens in search of food because we were getting pretty hungry. And along the way of deciding where we wanted to go, we stumbled upon this microbrewery, which was also on our list of things to do. So we decided to stop there and quench our thirst while we decided where we wanted to go and eat. In the end, we decided to head to the meatpacking district, where we'd heard also had really delicious street food. Unfortunately, as soon as we got there, it started pouring with rain, but we were able to seek shelter in a place called Juicy Burger, which, funnily enough, had really delicious and juicy burgers. So that's what we had for lunch. My friend Caroline had been in Copenhagen earlier in the week, and she recommended that we go to a place called the Round Tower and check it out. She mentioned that it had really amazing 360-degree views of the city. So after lunch we headed into the city centre and checked it out. Attached to the Round Tower was this church which had such amazing architecture inside, and I really enjoyed having a look around. And then we headed up the Round Tower and saw the just as amazing views of the city.
March wind and April shower, romance will soon be ours, an outdoor paradise for two.
At this point it was getting pretty late in the day, but we weren't ready for dinner just yet, so we decided to head to the Carlsberg Factory and have a bit of a look around there. One of the things that I didn't know about Carlsberg is that in their factory in Copenhagen holds the world's largest collection of beer bottles, and there is over 16,000 of them. After the tour, Nick and I wandered back to the meatpacking district because earlier on in the day I'd passed this pizza place called Neighborhood Pizza, which I really wanted to try, and I'm so glad we went there for dinner because the pizzas were absolutely delicious. Today is our last day in Copenhagen, and instead of going to Rosenborg Palace, which was going to be our plan today, we decided to actually take a train to Sweden, seeing as it's only about 40 minutes away. One of the things that I don't think I'll ever get over the wonder of it, I guess, is just how easy it is to travel around places in Europe, and how cheap and quick it is as well. The fact that Nick and I were just able to go to Sweden for lunch still kind of blows my mind. But we had an amazing time eating some delicious food, which I feel like is pretty much what we did the whole trip, and looking around some of Sweden's beautiful architecture. So after about a half-hour train journey and a little bit of trouble getting the ticket, we've made it to Sweden. I'm in total tourist mode with my big camera out. We've just come down to the harbour in Malmö in Sweden. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Just to take some photos. It's like 11:30, so I think after we've taken a couple photos and had a bit of a walk around, we might go and find somewhere for lunch. Our plane back to London leaves at like, I think it's 5:30 this afternoon or this evening. So we're going to have a few hours here, then head back to the train. Luckily the train from Malmö goes straight to the airport, so we don't have to worry about lots of different train journeys. But yeah, going to explore Sweden while we're here. Our train back to Copenhagen airport. Somehow on our plane home we managed to score the first row. Not sure how we managed that, but definitely not complaining. And then even though it felt like our trip had only just started, it was time to fly back to London and come home again.